The lame duck session is finally coming to a close in Congress, but the normally uneventful time between Election Day and the start of the new Congress has been marked by controversy this year. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and Speaker Nancy Pelosi have attempted to push through a number of major pieces of legislation. Some of their efforts have succeeded, some have failed, but at least one GOP senator is not happy that some critical bills were voted on by defeated members of Congress. Listen to this.
When it's all going to be said and done, Harry Reid has eaten our lunch. This has been a capitulation in 2 weeks of dramatic proportions of policies that wouldn't have passed in the new Congress.
So is Senator Graham right? Did the GOP give away too much, or are the Democrats to blame for abusing the lame duck session? Here to help answer those questions is Congressman Scott Garrett of New Jersey. Congressman, I keep going back to this point, but it seems to me that there's something fundamentally unseemly about hearing the voice of the people and then saying, OK, thanks, don't call us, we'll call you. We're going to ram all this stuff through in our last month of power anyway. Right, so to answer your question, yes, the Democrats are to blame. That's the easy answer to it. No, but to go back to Juan Williams' point, they wouldn't have got away with it without a lot of your colleagues lapsing into the old reach across the aisle mambo for the pre-Christmas period. Yeah, and being magnanimous and saying, can't we just pass these things and all work together? But I think, you know, the American public sent a very clear message on November 2nd that they wanted what? They wanted transparency, accountability, and most importantly, they wanted to rein in spending in Washington. And they wanted the Republican parties to stand for something and to not capitulate on these issues. On some of these issues, on these bills that came through after that, I really have to scratch my head and just say, how did we actually get here today that we are to see such a whole plethora of bills pass by with Republican votes on them? Yeah, and in very unusual conditions. I think there have only been, since 1935, something like 16 lame duck sessions in total. So they're not something that even has to be done for even minimal legislation, never mind for this. And isn't one of the lessons of November the 2nd that there was a feeling among the Republican base that government was out of control, and they wanted government to not just slow down, but to go into reverse. And it's dangerous to send the message that the ruling class haven't heard the people. Right, and our leadership in the House, Lisa says, well, come January 5th, when we're in power completely, we're going to start doing those things, having votes every week or so on this, to not only to keep spending where it is, but actually move it back. That's all a good thing. But we had these 3 or 4 weeks when we had the opportunity to actually say, let's institute it right now. Let's put a stopgap to this. You know, it's sort of akin to what someone said of Custer on the night of battle, saying, well, we have reinforcements coming in tomorrow, but let's go and battle anyway today. Right. You know, November 2nd, we got the reinforcements. The American public said, here are reinforcements coming to you in the House, here are reinforcements coming to you in the Senate. Just hold your ground, and we'll do better in January. Unfortunately, we didn't quite hold that. Yeah, it's like saying we've signed you up for Spendaholics Anonymous starting in January, but you've got a month of binge drinking and binge spending till you get there. What is it that your colleagues, that Republicans, what is it that they didn't hear on November 2nd? Well, I think they heard the message, and they have a plan in place for where we're going to go on January 3rd, January 5th when you go into place. But with the pressure coming from the White House, in the Senate is that whole other mix of a body over there that you have to scratch your head on and say, what are they thinking a lot of the times, whether Democrats are in control or the Senate Republicans are in control. And once it came out of that, it came into our House, where Speaker Pelosi, of course, had the votes to do anything that she wanted to on all these bills, whether it was the last issue we were talking about on the spending or on the don't ask, don't tell, on any of those issues. So once it got to the House, it could go right through without any of us stopping it. Right. But if you look at the way these last few weeks have gone, there was one moment, and John McCain, if you remember, was crowing triumphantly on the Senate floor when Harry Reid was forced to withdraw his Obamnibus spending bill that's stuffed with all this nonsense. And it was almost as if okay, that high water mark, an exhausted Republican caucus that had held together, then simply let the whole thing fall apart.
Right, and you saw that on bill after bill after bill. I mean, I was troubled. I was one of the few Republicans who voted no on the extension of the Bush tax cuts, because I thought portions of it are good as far as getting the Bush tax cuts put in place. But we argued as well that it's only for 2 years. The economists all said this is just going to keep unemployment at 9 or 10% for the next 2 years. As one banker said, no one's going to take out a 5-year note on a 2-year tax plan. So we could have done better. We could have done better on that bill come January 5th, or the first few weeks of January, anytime in the next year. Why we didn't do it, I think that's a loss that we had at this point. So all we can do at this point in time, regrettably, is put that behind us and go forward and try to undo some of these things.
And are you confident there's going to be serious effort to do that?
Oh, sure. In the House, for one of the issues in the House, what we're going to do is to try to segregate the bills in a way that we're not using the old style and the old formula where you're taking these omnibus-type legislation, not just in spending, but all the things, and break them into pieces. This is what the credit of Leader Boehner say, let's do it bit by bit, so that when you have a special thing in this bill and he has a special thing in that bill, you can't just get us all to vote for it because you have that.
Yeah, 2,000-page bill. I mean, I don't want to revoke the American Revolution, but when you look at George III and the Tea Act, it was about tea.
Exactly.
There wasn't like some subsidy for Guam buried on page 1,978 of it. Why can't you go back to that?
Well, we're going to certainly try to do that. I mean, that's, what was Speaker Pelosi's statement? Well, we have to pass the bill in order to see what was in it.
Exactly.
That's basically what was happening here with some of these, the tax bill and some other bills, because they were going through, not going through what we call in Washington regular order, which just basically means you go through the committee process, you have an opportunity to actually discuss the bill, have a read the bill, and all the rest. We didn't do that during the last couple of weeks. Now we will, and that'll give us an opportunity to try to fix some of these things. I don't know if we can undo, not going to be able to undo that Social Security issue for the next year. We're not going to undo some of the other things, but some of the issues we can fix.
But legislators legislating on bills that are about the things the bills are going to be about. That sounds like a great start, Congressman, if you could hold to that. Merry Christmas to you, and thanks for coming in on your way back to New Jersey tonight.